Do it.
Hey, welcome to another edition of the Get Made podcast. Um, so I want using this opportunity, kind of talk about a few things. Um, Maybe some things, maybe even a little personal for me. Um, you know, I know everyone's been seeing my book, "Taming the Storm: Understanding and Overcoming High Conflict Personalities for a Peaceful Life," and the book is very, you know, instrumental for me um, with some of the things that I've experienced in life and some of the things that I even try to learn, manage myself through throughout the course of life, of my life. You know, um, I know I've often talked about, you guys have seen me talk about some of my upbringing, some things that may have taken place with me growing up, um, some of the roles that I had taken in dealing with people. And, I think for me, this is in a variety of ways. And I'll probably talk about this a little bit throughout this year, having conversation about it. Just how maybe I was really having high conflict personalities myself based upon the people that I was dealing with. When you're dealing with people who have high conflict personalities, and if you're not centered or grounded in a way that does not you're not recognizing it, you're not aware, then you'll fall right over into it yourself. You just like you dump right over into the whole pile of that foolishness with everything else. And I think I worked from a position of lack of awareness for a while. Even when I thought I was on top of things, I was making it happen. I had some awareness issues that wouldn't allow me to kind of function properly. One of the main things I think that I share here today in this podcast, this episode, is dealing with judgment, right? Um, that was something that was real for me, right? I could not stand to be judged. Man, I would fight tooth and nail about being judged, right? And I had different judgment situations that's kind of taking place throughout my life, right, in various different stages of my life, and I wasn't getting it. I didn't get the information. One, I didn't really have anybody who was kind of teaching it to me, and so I wasn't. I just know that I'm being wrong, and I'm gonna do something about that, right? So I used to do this technique, what we call now the deer technique. I would defend, I would explain, I excuse, and I react, right? And show you how that'll work, right? And I just use this instance here. Everyone know that I was convicted of a crime back in 1985. It's a long time ago, right? It's a long time ago, but it was very impactful because I was a young man. I think I'm barely 20, just turning 20, right? And so I spent what would be considered the next 16 years, 15 years and 8 months of my life in prison, right? And so what happened is, I think it really kind of heightened for me, because at this point I am being judged, right? Judged by six, right? I mean, no, judged by 12. I'm sorry, judged by 12, right? I was thinking of the old expression, judged by 12, carried by six, right? Well, thank God for that. I wasn't carried away by nobody, but I was judged by 12, and the information that was getting put out there about me was very what's the word I'm looking for? It was, for lack of a better word, right now, it wasn't correct information, right? It was information that really put me in a bad light, right? It's something that was happening to me. I mean, I stand on what took place. You know what I mean? I do understand that what took place was wrong. I mean, I made my peace with my Lord with that. You know what I mean? The situation. Um, I bank on his forgiveness for it. You know what I mean? What they said it wasn't. But nevertheless, something did happen. It was an impact that took place. And I had to learn how to deal with the impact, because I was dealing with the event versus the impact, right? And so what happened is the judgment. I was like, then the information I was like just totally ignorant of what was really taking place. So everything they was doing was just really flying over my head, right? You gotta remember, I'm young at this point. I'm not really into this, but they're talking all over my head. They're using words, they're using phrases, they're using metaphors, all the type of stuff is just flying over my head, right? And so it was making me, the whole situation was making me bitter as well. Angry, bitter, call it what you will. It was happening, which then makes you defend more, right? It makes you defend more. And so I was defending, I was explaining, trying to over-explain myself. Think real talk, that probably got me in more trouble because at this point I'm trying to explain my situation. And when they tell you anything you say or do will be used in the court of law against you, can be used against you, they be dead serious about that joint there, right? And you just trying to be honest, you're trying to be truthful, and they twist that whole thing up, man. And so here we go, right? Yeah, I'm saying that, of course, I have bad conflict, high conflict personality. Now they just doing what they do, right? But the impact on me then allowed me to start moving in areas of having high conflict personality, right? And so, but subsequently, what happens is then I started choosing on damn near to be around people who had high conflict personality. I was damn near a magnet for it. And I didn't understand why, right? People who were very melodramatic or just dramatic, people who were, just had all type of unnecessary things going on, and I fall right into it. How did I fall into it? When it come up, when we having a disagreement, I fight that disagreement tooth and nail. They didn't give one factor about nothing. I was a non-factor in what what had going on, but I didn't realize that. I wasn't aware of that, right? And so I went years with this. I went years to keep falling into the same trap. I know some of you out there who doing the same thing, right? I've talked to many of you. Some of you are viewing this podcast, and some I know, and I could just about imagine a lot of you who are falling into it. You're in relationships that you're dealing with people who are dealing with a man or dealing with a woman that it seems like they're argumentative for no reason at all. They pipe up and they pipe up for no reason at all. Or it's just very small situations become escalated to something very big, you know. And that's why this book was important for me. Right? I'm talking about the book, but I'm not really talking about the book. I'm talking about how I was able to see myself in the book. Because each chapter I saw myself in. I saw myself working it out. I put in vignettes and case studies so you can see it. But I saw a lot of that. Was actually me working through all that. How they say you change your name to protect your innocence, right? But I can tell you something. I saw me in all those, in every chapter, right? I saw me, and it was. I mean, this ain't no confessional, but this is just sharing with you, my audience, how we have to do something different. Because I've known many people who were dealing with people who had high conflict personality. And I want everybody to know that this is not a disorder diagnosis. High conflict personality is not a disorder, right? Like narcissism or antisocial or things of nature there. You'll see a lot of that information in my book, right? But it's not a disorder. But it is a personality trait, right? It is traits, you know. I've seen many people who had these high conflict personality traits tricked a lot of people out of their lives and got their lives and was tricked out of their own lives because of it. But I mean, I've seen a lot of people, as they say on TikTok, unalived because of this, right? And are taking some very, you got people who are very manipulative, who with these high conflict personality traits, are very deceptive. Um, they really are just, at the end of the day, they can be very mean people, right? And you can find yourself right in the fix of it, and it's already might be you, right? Because in some degree, it was already me based upon some of the things that I experienced coming through life. Some of this was already me, right? Um, I thought I was good. I thought I was right. I thought I had, had it lying by the tail, right? But that wasn't the case, right? And I was getting fed on by all the lions a lot of times. I was just in the pen with them. I was getting fed. They feasted on me, right? And I didn't understand why. I didn't understand why. And it was as years came later, I started understanding why, right? And I'm gonna tell you a lie, because of that, in some degree, people who I was close to, I'm not close to them anymore, right? Um, People who have hurt me, I've forgiven them. People who I've hurt, I've asked for forgiveness. Um, because that's just the right thing to do, right? But this is when you know that you're trying to understand and overcome high conflict personality. Because at the end of the day, I was just looking for a peaceful life. I needed peace, and peace wasn't going to be, I've got a exuberant amount of money, or I got, status. People just know my name, and I got material possessions and things of that nature there. That wasn't peace. A whole bunch of, even before I became Muslim, a whole bunch of women and all this other type of stuff here. That wasn't peace. That was gratification. That was instant gratification. That wasn't peace. I wanted peace. And peace starts with awareness, and I want us to have an understanding, right? I'm kind of using it like a low calm, and I'm not really hyping it. Yeah, I'm not doing all that today. But yeah, I am doing that though. Because I want you to know that if we don't, life is passing us by. We're not getting younger. I know some of us, we're not getting any younger. Even though you may look young, you're not young. And each tick of the clock means our life is ticking away. You know, each tick of the clock, if you look at your clock and you look at each second that goes by, it's a second that's lost. And if you're looking to gain the next second, those things are not guaranteed. So we have to live in the now, because the only thing we really do have is the now and the past. We don't have the future. We're hoping for the future. We don't have the future. And you're not going to have a peaceful future if you're not trying to deal with these high conflict personalities in the correct way. If you're not eliminating those stressors from your life. You know, part of some of I know part of some of my problem is I had a lot of stressors. I probably had a lot of cortisol within my system. I was high cortisol within my system. I had a lot of stress, right? A lot of stress because it was the high conflict traits, all right? It's a lot. It's a lot of stress. You know, share you something else. How I have glaucoma, right? Everyone knows that I'm blind, right? I know I look good and cool in shades, but I don't wear shades because I'm trying to look cool with shades, but I am blind. But I wanted to say something, I went without this insurance. I told this story before. But what I didn't tell in this story is that the glaucoma, the effects of glaucoma sped up it was sped up because of the stress factors that I was under. It wasn't just the medicine that I wasn't taking. It was also the stress factor. The stress factors, accelerated it. And if I could have kept that stress down, I could have kept some of my sight. Right, I wouldn't be where I'm at in my sight at this point now had I been able to keep that stress down. Um, yeah, I'm saying something today that I ain't even tell my wife. To be honest with you, this my wife is for the first time she's hearing this as well, right? So just being in a vulnerable state right now, talking to everyone. But yeah, that was part of my doctors just always kind of talk to me about stress. About stress. I was going through stress. I was going through depression. I was going through a lot of different things that sped this thing up, you know. And I was already stressed. I would come home. I'm trying to finish college. I'm trying my undergrad program. I'm working full time, school full time, husband, father full time. I had a lot of things that was pulling on me. I had a lot. I mean, sometimes I didn't know how to type, because I was in prison. I didn't know nothing about no typing. I learned how to type. Actually, I didn't learn how to type until I actually became blind, to be honest with you. Actually, when I actually learned how to truly type, I had to be blind to do that. But I used to peck, right? Just peck out papers. So when I first started, man, it took one page paper, which was only 250 words. It took me almost 6 hours to do, right? And I had to go to work. Right, I had to be at work that morning. I'm typing up them type of papers. Then if I mess up, then I got to try to erase that whole line and then try to do it all over again. And so it's 250 words in 6 hours, right? Um, but I'm saying that stress though, I dealt with a lot of stress. I mean, I was coming home from prison. It was already stressful, right? Just doing all the time. But I learned how to cope there. I didn't have those coping mechanisms when I came home. So when I just started learning how to be aware, checking inner, reflecting inwardly, and give myself some head checks, and then putting people in play to be able to get a lot of this off of me, so I can kind of work it out, not just suffering in silence, right? You will really understand if you don't have awareness. That's the first thing. If you're not aware, you know, you're going to be in trouble. I'm just going to stay on awareness for this episode. We're going to talk about some other things as it goes on. I want everybody to know though that this is probably one of the most serious from a personal level podcasts that I've probably done in a very long time. And I wanted people to understand it's not about the hype. It's not about. I mean, I'm not low energy in this situation. I'm serious in this situation. This isn't about low energy. We got to quit working with these crazy ass stimuli. All right. You know, that's part of the problem too. We overstimulated and we need so much high energy because we overstimulated. When somebody really talking to you calming and you're like, oh my God, what's going on? Oh, we got to learn how to quit being overstimulated. And especially when you're older. You don't need all that noise. You need that real. I talk to you real. Right? I'm trying to be honest. I'm being up close and personal. I don't know if you got to zoom in on me right here, but I'm gonna zoom in. I want you to know that I am trying to be up close and personal with you about what is taking place because there's an assault on us, on men. There's this assault on men, and we're damn near losing the battle, son. Really, we're losing the battle. And they knocking us off. Knocking us off one random person at a time. With this foolishness. We dying. I didn't. And last year, man, I had a lot of friends that died. You know, a lot of friends that has passed away. You know, and I'm saying we getting out of here. Or they punching. It's it's clock punching time. Don't you want to go out of here with some peace? Don't you want peace? I mean, it ain't about women. It ain't about sex. It ain't about money. It ain't about cars. It's about peace. Don't you want some inner peace? I'm saying, it's we have to do it. We have to do it. My age group that checks out this podcast is 35 and up. You know, some younger cats, but really the age group is 35 and up. You know why it's 35 and up? Because these are men who are definitely in transition. You know, I got sisters who checking us out as well. But for the men, these are men in transition. 35, you really kind of lightweight got a career that you kind of set in at that point. Or you trying to do something with your business as an entrepreneur, and you at 35 and up, and especially tip over into your 40s and even your 50s, you talk about retiring is at some point. You looking at life from a whole different, your body changing, you know, your body's changing. Some, just natural coming in. Some you got low T. Tell the truth about yourself. You got this low T going on. You know, your man ain't working like it almost like it used to. You know, you got some ED issues going on. You know, and saying you're impotent, but if it ain't if it ain't touching when the wind blow, you got an ED issue going. It's okay. It's okay. The thing is about being aware. Again, the word is awareness. The word is awareness, and we got to start tapping into that. Many men, and this is of course, my podcast is a black male Muslim podcast, premier black male Muslim podcast in America. But real talk, I know all the men listen to this thing too, right? And as far as black men is concerned, we're sitting there, man. We you smoking this, you smoking weed, you smoking this, you drinking. Some of you might be popping pills. You doing a whole bunch of stuff, man. That can't be peaceful. You're looking for these pharmaceuticals and substance ways of trying to get to peace. That's all you're trying to do. That's how you're trying to relax. You're drinking your beer, you're drinking your whiskey or whatever. You're trying to holler at a bunch of women. You're doing all type of foolishness, you know. When as a mature man, that's not your call. And then you're dealing with women, that every time you turn around, they got something going on. They fussing about this, arguing about that, doing this. They need their voice heard. All this old type of stuff here. They saying all this stuff here, right? And you like, you mean you need your voice heard? The only thing I hear is you, right? That's all I hear is you. You talking about you need your voice heard, but they stumping you out, and you trying to figure out how I can survive because if you retaliate, guess who gonna be the person who get blamed for something? It's gonna be you. That's high conflict personality 101. We dealing with high conflict personality. That's 101. You're not getting it, bro. And y'all not seeking help in that. Um, the many men I have to kind of work with when I'm working with them that, I have to fight through all that. Just kind of get to them here. You know, I had to fight to get to them. And when they finally get to them, it's like they break. You know what I mean? It's a good break. Because I try to keep them in safe spaces. So they can be vulnerable. They know that I care. I'm just saying, knowing I'm competent, I'm reliable, you know, So therefore, they build in trust with, they're able to be vulnerable. They understand that there's this thing that I'm bringing integrity to the situation. That's how they're able to trust. That's how they're able to let go. You know how hard that is for men? I tell you, it was definitely hard for me. I used to go around talking all the time, man, I don't trust nobody. How can you live a peaceful life and you don't trust nobody? We gotta do something different, bros. My brothers, we gotta do something different, man. You know, hell, if I'm trying to die, man, without peace. I don't know about y'all, man. Hell, if I'm trying to die without being at peace. You know, I can't even get to my Lord right because I'm dealing with all this foolishness. Can't even get past my prayers because I can't connect. I got this thing blocking me. I can't get the peace because I got something blocking because I'm blocking it. Come on, man. Time for blaming somebody. I ain't sitting there saying you ain't dealing with some people who got some craziness to them, the high conflict personalities to them. I'm saying though, you have to look at you. That's where the first place you look at. Look at yourself. That's what I had to do, and I thank God for it. 'Cause I can tell you a lot, man. Real talk. I don't know. I'm bald now. Wife said that. I'm losing it up top. Oh, that's stress, man. They say genetics, man. That's stress. You're cutting it bald because you're losing it. So, man, a lot of that stress. All that white, all that gray, a lot of that stress. You say that some salt and pepper don't come through. Some people just have salt and pepper. But a lot of that stress. And I'm saying, I know a lot of you out there overweight, eating too much, stress. Because you're dealing with a whole bunch of people, high conflict personality, eating the wrong food, you're indulging in the wrong food. I ain't sitting there telling you got to have a salad in your face all the time. I'm saying that we have to do something different in order to get to peace. You don't go get checkups. Men, I'm telling you yourself, you don't go to the doctor enough. How about you got to go to work, man, whatever. Okay, cool, you got to do that, man. But when you dead and gone, you know what they're going to do? They're going to replace you with somebody else to do that job. And get yourself checked out. Man, my family talk crazy and tell me crazy now. They always, man, he always at the doctor's office. Man, I'm faithful at a doctor's for checkup. I'm faithful about it now. I used to didn't be, but I'm not that way now. Man, my toe go to hurt too bad, man. I'm gone. And what I need to do? What's going on with this toe? I'm asking that question. I'm saying to you guys, man, we got to start doing something different, and it start from awareness. Many brothers who show up with me, a lot of times they show up to me in a marriage counseling setting. And I ain't gonna sit here and act like marriage counseling ain't okay, but I really do believe the stronger situation is the individual counseling. A lot of people feel like they don't need it. Everybody needs it. Hell, you mean you don't need it? Everybody needs it. And if you don't come to me, go to someone. Go somewhere. Because at the end of the day, if you are not aware that you are not doing certain things to change life, even if it's just you need a mental health break, versus finding in a bottle, finding something that's destructive to your spiritual life and your physical life. I just wanted to share that with everybody today. Take this time out to kind of share that information. It's from the heart. I think everybody would know that this is from the heart. This podcast here, like all podcasts, but this one is just me right here. This is from the heart. I'm just talking from me to you. right? From me to you. That's what time this is, you know. And this is my way of giving back to what's needed. Because man, they're killing us one man at a time. And sometimes people doing not realize they're doing it. And we can do something different. We can do something different. Get yourself checked out. Get your body checked out. Get your mind checked out. Tap into your spiritual life a little bit more. Quit ear hustling, saying that this is what you're doing, but you really ain't doing nothing. Quit ear hustling. You know, pick up a book and read it for a change. If you ain't got time, you can just read. You can read one page. You can read something. You know, they make it even better. They give you audio book now. You can listen to an audio book. You don't have the attention span. A lot of us don't have the attention span to stay and listen to an audio book. But that is, we just have to be trained to do something different. You know, if you ain't got time to sit down and just read a book, you in your car all the time, or whatever the case may be, then listen to it on audio. Get it together, bro. Get it together. Because if you don't, man, we ain't gonna be here. All right. So that every Monday at 7 p.m. Y'all know the drill. Every Monday at 7 p.m. I broadcast the Get Made podcast on Facebook, the House and Clay, and on YouTube at the House and Clay Experience. You can also follow me on TikTok and Instagram at the House and Clay _experience. And share some of your comments. Hit me up inbox. Hit me up on the thing. Share some of your comments. Think about it. Reflect on it. If you don't do nothing but give me greetings, assalamu alaikum, what's up, bro, or whatever. Just give me greetings. You ain't got to talk about it. Just give me some greetings. Let me know that you're out there. That'd be much appreciated. So with that, closes out. Y'all have a great one. See you next Monday.